Hey, hey, hey. Hello. Hi. Hi, hi, hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So this is Instagram and this is Facebook. Hi, it's such a pleasure to be here with you guys this lovely hot afternoon. And I'm so excited that you guys have been buzzing so much. I can tell the energy from the response, even from the vendors that we put their names up on the website. Like, there's just a lot of buzz about this live baking right here in my kitchen, and I'm so thankful that you're spending the afternoon with me. But I want to know, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm waving back. Good afternoon, guys. Can you hear me? Hello, Facebook. So we're baking a storm today. And hello, IG. We're baking a storm. Thank you very much. So how many people are baking along with me today? How many people? Fantastic. Let me just see your chat saying that I am baking with you. Good, 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 good. Fantastic. So I can't really see everybody's chats or messages, okay? I'll try and look at them after I have finished all of this. But I tried very hard to prep just before we're going live, and I pretty much have everything figured out. But this is live. Hey, let's leave room for mistakes and all whatnot. So I want to be careful to be looking at Instagram and Facebook. So hello again, everybody. I'm about to start. The first thing I want to do is turn on my oven. Okay, so if you have the recipe, okay, you just have to be looking back, and by this time you want to have all your ingredients in place, meaning you have pre-measured everything correctly. But for the sake of those baking for the first time, I'm going to just show you some of the things you need to look out for when you're baking. Alright, even if you have your measuring tools and your spoons, okay, and your cups, you still need to be able to put some things in line. So the first thing I want us to talk about is the scale. I like to use the electronic scale, okay, and I like it because it's very accurate. The faster we are, the better, and the more accurate we are, the better. So this recipe calls for butter, okay, and it also calls for oil, and I regularly like to use sunflower oil or vegetable oil. Whatever oil you decide to use, just make sure it's not oil that has any taste or smell, okay, because that would affect the overall taste of your cake. So you want to make sure that your oil is tasteless, all right, and it doesn't have any smell. And then we also want to make sure that our butter is unsalted. When the butter is unsalted, you can control the amount of salt you're putting in, because there's some, depending on the make you buy, there's some butters that have way too much salt, and that kind of affects the overall taste of your cake. So don't skip that. I, on the other hand, at home today, I have salted butter. So I'm using salted butter. But at the bakery, we always use unsalted butter. Okay? So I just wanted to clear that. This is what I have at home, and I just wanted to use what I have at home instead of buying. And then, of course, I have my eggs, fresh eggs. I have my sugar, and I have my flour. Okay? And for the sake of the newbies here, people who haven't baked at all before, I don't want it to look too dramatic. What the process is, and that you will still get your cake looking as lovely as possible. Just make sure that you follow the rules, okay? So the first thing we want to do now is, let me put this aside. I'm going to bend this down so you can see my table. Okay, you can't see my face now, just everything that is on the table. Good. I'll take this out of the way. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, this is my scale, all right, and I normally like to zero it out. Just zero it out. Once you've zeroed it out, okay, and I like to measure in grams. So just follow the recipe like I mentioned. We're using mostly grams, and then if it's the liquids, I've given you measurements in milliliter. All right, so I have actually pre-measured my butter already. So this is 115 grams of butter, as you can see, and this is room temperature. Can you see that? It's not like really fluid. It still has a bit of body to it. Okay, and in fact, by the time I press it, you can still see the mark of my palette on it. So this is fantastic for room temperature. Okay, I'm going to pour this into my bowl. Where's that bowl, please? Thank you. Pour this into my bowl. I'm not sure I've ever baked live like this before. It's always a first time for everything. Okay, so what I want to do now is, or better still, so that I carry everybody along properly, let me just make sure that for the sake of those who are baking along with me, okay, before I jump the gun, let me just make sure I've pre-measured everything out. Okay, so let's do that. So I was going to show you something. So this is my bowl. I have zeroed it out, okay, as you can see, and now I want to measure my sugar. The sugar is 315 grams. Okay, so that's 315 grams. All right, so I'm doing this for the sake of people who want to know how to measure out correctly. All right, I like to use an electric scale. So we're going to 315. Yes, now that's that. So this is okay, I'll put that in one side. And then of course, the flour. I need another bowl, please, if you have a bowl. So this is another bowl for my flour. So I will zero it out once more. Bring my flour in. For the flour, we need 375 grams of flour. And then this is already sifted. Okay, I'd like to sift my flour just before I am about to bake. But for the sake of those who are doing this for the first time, I literally want to hold you by the hand and do it bit by bit, so I mean you're not overwhelmed. So 375. Let's hope it doesn't spill out or fall off. Okay, now I have too much. So 375. There we go. Fantastic. And so quickly now I am going to take this out of the way and do a bit of sieving, right? Sieve. You can see because my bowl is quite small, I'm not going away or lifting it up. I'm just kind of staying within the perimeter of the bowl so I don't have anything spilling out. And just before I finish this off, I'm going to put in my baking powder. Okay, this is, the recipe calls for 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and that's what I have in here. So there you go. That's the remaining flour there. sieve, 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 sieve. And that's it. So just to make sure that I have my baking powder well incorporated, I'm just going to do this once more. And then you have it. Easy peasy. Okay, so now that I have all my ingredients pre-measured out in the correct proportions, now I can begin to mix my butter. So again, room temperature. Now if you're using the Kenwood or the chef mixer, you're going to be a lot faster than I am, but I just want you to look out for some things. So first, you can see the color of this. It's like a light yellow, or from what I can see on the screen is a bit yellow, is more than light. Okay, so we want it to just kind of loosen up. Once it has loosened up, now and again I will go in and scrape the side of my bowl. Okay, when it has just about loosened up, I will pour in my cup of oil. Oops, it was nice that we put that saucer there, right, or the side place rather. Okay, so gently now. Can you bring the butter out? Okay, so how are we doing? How are we going? How is it looking? What's the measurement of the measurement of the oil is half a cup. Half. I'm doing exactly what I put in your recipe. Exactly what I did in your recipe. Okay. So what I want to do now is this. Quickly now, Mary, please, I'm going to need your help. Just before we go on, I'm going to quickly just pour this in another bowl. So guys, look at, that's the pressure of live baking. I literally used 1 cup of oil instead of half a cup of oil. So I'm going to, luckily we have so much ingredients here, so I'm just going to pour this away. All right, pour this away. So now I'm going to need the oil, please, so just give me the oil and let's pour it. Okay, so yes, the oil, yes. And I'm going to use my measuring cup. Yes, let me just take this out of the way. So we're literally, again, just doing this so we can do it correctly. So it's okay if you make a mistake, make sure you stop. Baking is a science. If you've done anything wrong, you need to stop, all right, and correct whatever it is you have done wrong. Okay, so that's my oil right there in the right measurement now. And then my butter. So I'm going to measure my butter. Look at that. And I had everything figured out, like seriously, in my mind. So, okay. So that's 115. I hope no one else made that kind of error. If you did, Go back and correct yourself. Okay. Oops. So we're going to 115, and luckily I have some butter that is just about right. And if for any reason you have, or you're about to bake and you forget to bring your butter out of the fridge, so there's a trick to it, and I'll tell you what to do right after I do this. So we're going to 115. So I have another one that is soft there, so I don't use. Okay. So I am almost there. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying very hard not to use the really solid part. I'm using the part that has gone soft. There you go. Okay. All right, fantastic. Okay. Yes, please. So to just show you what I did right now, Facebook, hi again. So what it is the measure, I'm just doing exactly what I put in there for you on the recipe. Okay, and on the recipe it calls for 115 grams of butter and then half a cup of oil or 125 ml. So what I did was, the butter was the right measurement, but I used the wrong cup, alright, which is 1 full cup. So I had to stop, pour it aside, okay, and now I have remeasured. So if you make any mistake like that or any error, please stop and rewind and start all over again. I'm just thankful that, I mean, we haven't gone too far before I realized the error I had made. But hey, we're back on the flow now, so let's go. But before I pour this now, let me now mix this. So I will put this right back again, so you can see exactly what I am doing right here. But you have to be able to be patient enough to do it the right way. So what I'm doing is I've just stopped to scrape down the sides of my bowl. You would notice that it's not so, the butter is not too much, so it has a tendency of just spreading out in the bowl. So you want to bring it back all together like so. All right, and then keep on mixing. So look at that now, it's properly loosened up now. So I'm going to pour the half a cup of oil now. There you go. Thank you. So it's going to incorporate very nicely. It will become one homogeneous liquid. We just keep going. So I am going to scrape down the sides of my bowl. This is very important. Scrape down the sides. Okay, like so. So we're basically there, guys. We are basically there. So you see, it's good to use a bigger bowl. If I wasn't using a bowl this big big and wide, it will be a total mess. Alright, so those of you baking with bowls in your house, make sure that you put that into consideration. So I'll just give you one last mix. Fantastic. And then I will pour in my sugar, everything. Alright? So I'm going to mix this a bit and then tell you something to look out for. So don't be tempted to say, oh, I've added the butter, it is fine. You're going to go from this consistency onto almost like a pancake looking look. It will look like it's pancake. It's going to look a lot airier. It will look a bit fluffier than what it is. So you need to just keep doing the work, okay? And it will take about 5 minutes. So I've just cranked the speed up. Bit by bit. It's not yet where we want it to be. Alright, I just stopped to scrape down the sides of my bowl. Make sure you always stop to do that. Whether you're using a food processor or you're using a hand mixer, you always have to stop to scrape down the sides of your bowl. Often and again, I'm stopping to scrape down. I cannot emphasize how important this is. Alright, if you're using a food processor, I'm sure you're way ahead of us by now. But just be patient, we'll soon get to where you are as well. Okay, so the aim of this live baking with me today is for you to know that baking can be easy depending on how ready you are for it. Okay, there you go. This does take time, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. I'm so used to using the food processor or the cake mixer. You need a lot of hand work to do this. OMG. Okay. So for those of you using the hand mixer, we're not yet there. We're still very far away, okay? But just to show you how it looks as we go. Alright? going to scrape down once again. Believe me, if you were using a cake mixer, it would already have been done with this part. But it's important we do it well. Mixing, especially the sugar and the fats, is very important because it's literally what helps you in creating that light, fluffy texture of your cake. Alright, so we don't want to skip that part, even if it's on live. Alright. Everybody, really, I just have to concentrate on what I'm doing. Oh my goodness, this is incredible. And take this away. Oh yes, you can use margarine instead of butter. Definitely. Just make sure you skip out. Okay, someone is asking, can you use margarine? Yes, you can. Just skip out the salt, okay? But of course, you won't be able to get the overall taste to look as rich as this. But yes, margarine does work. Okay, someone is asking, and this is very, very important, so let me stop and answer the question. The person is saying, is there anything as over mixing your butter? Yes. Okay. There's a place for over mixing, like you can't mix your butter for 1 hour, it's not possible. Alright? But this particular recipe, you know, it uses a lot of liquid, and it's butter, oil, and sugar. So we added the butter first, then the oil, and that already makes it very fluid. All right, and then so by the time we add the egg, the sugar into it, it looks really grainy. It's not going to completely go, but you need to take it from where it looks pale to where it looks a little more airy, and like I mentioned, almost looking like pancake consistency. All right, so go back to the view. So one last time. Okay, good. So this is where we're going. All right, it's definitely changed in consistency. And now I'm going to begin to, it's still very grainy at this time. Don't worry about that, all right? It's absolutely okay. So the next thing for me to do now is to pour in my eggs bit by bit, and this time around on low speed. So this recipe calls for 4 eggs. All right. All right, thank you. And then once it's all in, then I can now increase the speed. And then you mix it, okay, for another 2 minutes or so. Before we bring that butter, that's icing later. So right now I am going to scrape. I just love scraping down the side of bowl. I'm so used to it. Well, you have to be used to that. That's very important. Stop, scrape down the sides of your bowl. Okay? Already it's looking very fluffy even without adding the flour. Okay. So now that the egg is well incorporated, already, if you're working with me, you can already tell that the sugar isn't that obvious anymore. Okay, so I told you there was nothing to worry about. So now, just before I pour in the dry and the drying, which is the what's it called now, the flour, I'm gonna add the vanilla extract. Now it calls for 4 tablespoons, but because I'm using a paste, a vanilla paste, I'm going to just be using 2 tablespoons, just to help us have an overall beautiful taste. All right, and I'll just give that a mix one last time. I can already see the black sparkles of my vanilla bean paste. I just love that look. Okay, so guys, so this is the flour, all right, and I'm going to pour I'm not going to pour the entire flour inside. You don't want to shock your batter. Okay, and into this flour already, I have already poured in the leavening agent, which is the baking powder. So gently now, okay, you can very slowly, this is very important. I need you to get this part. Once it's just about combined, you stop and you add your buttermilk and you keep mixing. Good. You see, I didn't overdo that. The part for over mixing is done. When I was mixing the butter and the sugar, yes, I could do that, but now I have to be very careful so that my cake doesn't become rubbery or tough. So add this again, and then buttermilk. And this is homemade buttermilk, guys. I put the recipe down for you there, or I put a link for you to be able to get it done, so that we don't have to start doing that now. Alright, so I'm going to again scrape down the sides of my bowl. You can see it's a very runny batter, so don't worry. It's absolutely okay. So I'm going to pour in some of my flour again. And of course, my milk, butter. buttermilk rather. You can see that I'm so not a fan of over mixing. And then under mixing too, there's a problem with under mixing. So there's a happy place, okay? You cannot undermix and you can't overmix. So I'll just pour my remaining milk, buttermilk rather. Good. There you go. You see that? Just when I don't see any flour again, I am more than okay at this point. The rest can be done by hand. All right. So what I will do by hand now is this. Let me just stick this out of the way. Thank you. Very good. All right. So you see that I'm now folding. All right. It's totally done already, but I'm for the sake of any flour that is probably down the bowl that hasn't got any action, I am folding. But for the most part, you look at the batter. All right, it's not too thick, it's very runny, but it's smooth. Okay, I can see a little bit of lumps. That is okay. So far it's not fat lumps, it's absolutely okay. By the time it bakes through, we won't be seeing the lumps. And of course I can see the beautiful speckles of my vanilla paste. All right, now let's get down to action. So I'm going to turn it so that you can see my face. Turn this too. This is my first time of doing a live on Facebook, so bear with me, Facebook. But my Instagram people, we know ourselves, Abby. Okay, so it's really hot, but I'll try and manage because I have a light there so that everything can be properly illuminated. There you go. Right. So now this is very important, and I'm going through this step for the sake of those who haven't baked before, or for those who have baked and I haven't been doing it properly. So quickly, I'll put this aside. Now, my batter, I know what this batter weighs. I love to measure everything. So overall, this batter weighs a certain amount, and I'm going to divide it into half. Okay, so this particular batter I would use in this pan. This is an 8-inch pan. Nothing fancy. I've had this pan now for over 10 years, guys. It's so strong. Okay, it's not until you buy Wilton before you bake. Even if you buy the ones that are locally made, it is still fine, especially if you get someone who does it well for you. So these pans I've been using at the bakery for over 10 years, and I love them. All right, so now this pan is like half an inch. What am I saying? Like 2 inches. You either get this pan or you get the longer ones, the ones that are like 5 inches tall. I just prefer these ones for our regular cake so that they stay in the oven for a shorter amount of time. Now if we're doing the fruit cakes, okay, then I can use the much taller ones. But this is what I want to call your attention to. Now this batter is going to do 2 of these pans. Alright, but I have baked already. They're there waiting for us so that we just get straight to the decoration. So what will happen is when we've reached the 1 hour mark, I will have to stop. Give me about 5 minutes and then I'll come back and then we finish up with the decoration of the cake. So I'm going to pour some of the batter into this pan and also into my cupcake liner so that you will see how lovely this batter is. It's fantastic as a cake and it's also beautiful as cupcakes. But before I pour it in here, we need to do some drama. So you need to line your pan, and lining the pan is really about greasing it with your butter. Okay, you grease it properly, and then I like to use parchment paper. I will place that onto, I mean if you have brown paper, by all means guys. You don't have, but this is what I just had readily available in the house, so that's it. But I like to double it. Okay, I like to double it because this particular batter, I find that it tends to caramelize very quickly. It tends to brown up on the sides and on the bottom. So I'm just trying to protect it from browning too much. Okay, I'm totally fine with that caramel part. I can always shave it off. So far it doesn't affect you know, the real cake on the, well, it's all cake, but you know those, the white parts. Okay, and then quickly I want to show you a tip. Now, this is me scrolling back down. Put this on the side. And I have these pieces. So I have baking strips, all right? Now I use these baking strips around our cake pans, okay? So that it helps to just guide the cake, and I'll show you why. And why, if you like it, go ahead. If you don't do that. Right? I will show you why. So this is the cake already baked. So we baked these ones yesterday. Look at that. So fluffy, so moist, all right? But you can see there's a lot of caramelization on the edge, okay? Which is totally fine. We can shave that off or not. But you look at this particular one, all right? Same cake, same recipe, everything is the same. The only difference is that we put this guide, okay, on the side of the pan for this one and not this one. So of course there was a lot of more browning on this cake than the one that didn't have the guide. All right, so I wanted to call your attention to that. So if you don't have this, let me just quickly show you what you can do in your house. Let me have this, please. You just bring the tray. The entire tray. So what you need to do is just take water, okay? Take kitchen towel. I'm sure you all have kitchen towel. All right, and then you roll it, okay? You roll it in, and I'm using kitchen towel because it's quite tough. If it was regular tissue, by the time we dip it in water, it will be a total mess, okay? So, so far this can go around the side of my bowl. What I want to do now is, let me have the foil paper. So what we need now is, let me put this aside quickly. And this is some foil paper. So the aim is, after we have put water on the kitchen towel, then we'll roll it into this. All right? I hope that makes sense. All right, so quickly now. Of course, you don't want it to be too much. Just enough. So they are called baking strips, but this is what you can use just in case you don't have a baking strip. So you fold it all right, and then this goes round the side of your pan like so, okay, and then it goes into the oven like this. But I have baking strips, so I'm just going to make it wet. Let me have the baking strips, the water, please. Okay, so even the baking strips need to be wet. It needs that moisture. When you are baking at home or even at the bakery, because I know a lot of bakers are joining us, one or two tips like this have a long way of making your cakes, especially those of you, right now there's so many people doing a lot of on iced cakes, and it's really nice when the body of the cake just looks really lovely and light. Okay, and then I'm going to put, I just like to use, this is also parchment paper I have cut into strips, okay, and just literally putting it into my pan like so. And then of course, where's my scale, my trusted scale. Now my batter, I'm going to have to weigh, my overall batter is 1 1438 kilograms. Okay. All right. So that means I've divided it into 2, and so I know I need in this batter 712 grams. Okay. Which is what I'll do now once I zero this out. Look at our batter, so beautiful. So 712 grams is where I'm going. Have a little bit more. Good, fantastic. So perfect. Okay. And so this goes straight into the oven, but before it goes into the oven, I want to measure out for the cupcakes as well. So let me put this aside. I want to put the cupcakes in first. So this is my liner. Alright, I'm just going to put my liners in. And so this recipe will do that pan twice, as the 8 inches pan, or it will do this 12 cupcakes, to do a complete set of these cupcakes, which is 12. Alright. So what I'm going to do is just use my ice cream scoop, alright, just to have a bit of evenness going on. I just really love this batter. It looks really nice. And you see that's really fast, isn't it? We're almost at the 1 hour stretch. I need to be fast. Okay, so I need to pour in some more batter because I always like when the cupcake comes out of the case a little bit more. Well, that's for cupcakes. For cakes, I tend to flatten it out myself. So just try not to over pour into your case so that you don't have the cake spilling over in the oven. Okay, it seems like we're not going to be able to get up to. Alright. So you want to make sure you're scraping the sides, the bowl. It's very important. This is all part of our recipe. And you don't want that to go to waste. Okay. There you go. Alright, so I think I need just one more. Oh no, let me just stop it there. So what I'm going to do now is, there's no drama for this particular one. This one just goes straight into the oven. Alright, so that's where we're going in a bit. That's my oven. That's my oven right there. And in the oven, I already have my, this is really hot, so I'm going to wear my gloves. Yes. Okay, so I usually like to have a timer. I almost put this on my hand, can you imagine? Okay, so I have my correct temperature. The temperature I want you guys to put your oven is 300. Okay, so once that is there, I can put in my, why did I remove this? No, it's okay. I'll just put it back on because I don't want to be tempted to carry this. 18 minutes, okay? 15 to 18 minutes. Now, did you notice that some of the hollows of the cupcake pan was empty? Feel free to put some liquid there if you want. Alright, depending on your oven, you can get different results, but I'm just totally fine, so I'll just leave them like that. So I'm going to take a while and get ready for the decorating part, and it's almost 1 hour and we shouldn't lose all this amazing content. So join me in another 5 minutes, okay, and then we're going to get straight to decorating. While we decorate, we'll wait for the cupcakes to be ready. I'll bring it out and show you what it looks like, okay, but that doesn't disturb the flow because I've already baked the cakes already, so it's about putting it together. So see you shortly.